It is week number 18 in the National Football League. To think where we have been and where it ends in the regular season finale weekend around the NFL. That starts with a doubleheader on Saturday, 14 games on Sunday to determine everything for the NFL postseason and even the National Football League draft and that first overall pick in 2025 as well. 14 of our 16 games have some sort of significance for a playoff spot, a playoff seed, a divisional title, or what it means for that first overall selection come this April in the NFL draft. So, motivation and mentality, a huge part of every handicap you will have for week number 18. If this is your first time with us on a Football Friday, sad it's taken you so long, but welcome to kick off a new year in 2025. So a reminder of our weekend pick six, our 6 favorite bets across a variety of categories for an NFL weekend slate. 2 games Saturday, 14 on Sunday. Our favorite touchdown score, somebody to hit pay dirt anytime, TD price. Our favorite Moneyline Underdog to keep it close and pull off the outright upset. Our favorite under of the weekend. Then we'll go to the alt markets, a sprinkle of plus money for a favorite alternate line. Our favorite yardage prop of the weekend. A lot of incentives out there entering the regular season finales. And of course, we combine forces for a 2-leg 6-point teaser. So, anytime touchdown scoring market, Germaneri, please begin. Who and in what game?
Well, I don't want to wait to cash this ticket, Ben, so I'm just going to go with a Ravens and Browns look here. And I am going to go with who else? Mark Andrews is an anytime touchdown. Why? Well, all he's done is catch a touchdown in 5 straight and 9 of the last 10 games. He is the go-to red zone guy for Lamar once again. He has 10 TDs in his last 11 games. And it's funny because he hadn't scored a touchdown, Ben, if you remember, almost a year, a full calendar year before the first game against the Browns, in which that's when he finally got off the schneid. And then ever since then, Lamar's got his security blanket back. And I think very much so he will once again hit pay dirt in this game. Him and Lamar will hook up probably early in this game, and then we won't see him in the second half.
First game of the weekend, tomorrow, Saturday afternoon in the Charm City, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That slated kick. Baltimore is a 19.5-point favorite against Bailey Zappi in the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens simply need an outright victory to clinch the AFC North and the 3 seed within the AFC playoff picture. We expect that to happen. We expect it to be all Baltimore early and often. Again, the Ravens just an outright win over the Browns to be that AFC North champ and a 3 seed in the AFC. It's the largest spread for an NFL game that we have seen since the 2021 season. Joe, much like you, I don't want to wait until Sunday to cash that anytime touchdown price. Let's go T. Higgins at -110 as the Bengals will head to Pittsburgh in a game they must have to keep their AFC postseason chances alive against the Steelers. And the one thing that has not held back the Bengals this year, it's the passing attack. And overall, I guess you could say it is the offense. Of course, T. Higgins caught all 3 touchdown passes that Joe Burrow threw a weekend ago against Denver. But it's not just that, recency bias clouding my mind. It's the fact that T. Higgins has scored in 3 straight games, 6 of the last 7. And oh, by the way, he might want to make one final statement in those Tiger stripes as a Bengal, because more than likely, this could be T. Higgins' last game as a member of Cincinnati for a Cincy franchise that doesn't like to pay its most supremely talented wide receivers. They're already going to have to ante up for Jamar Chase. T. Higgins on the franchise tag with maybe the last laugh. And if Cincy is going to keep pace in Pittsburgh tomorrow night, it's all the offense you could want once again. -110 for T. Higgins to hit pay dirt. Moneyline underdog numbers to know for the weekend. And Joe, that could mean right here, right now, the perfect time to get down before some of those stakes might start to dwindle as these next 48 hours play out.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting here, Ben. I think in Week 18, I do think I love your T Higgins bet first of all here, because there are going to be points against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because the last three games they've given up 90 in that defense, and I anticipate we could probably get a few more there. I'm going to look at another interesting game here, Ben. One that by the time your game is over there with the Steelers and the Bengals, right? By the time the Chargers and the Raiders go off, and we talked about this with Mike Blewett, this could be an absolute nothing to the Chargers. The Chargers could be locked into the number 6 seed and might absolutely decide to rest some starters here. In the meantime, the Raiders have been very competitive. They actually have a 2-game winning streak here, if you can believe that. And there is no reason for me to think at home that with O'Donnell, go figure, they have actually found a quarterback that everyone likes to play for in O'Connell. He looks competent. Brock Bowers looking to set all sorts of rookie records. Jacoby Myers, a legit weapon. I don't know. To me, I think Antonio Pierce wants to win. He doesn't care about the draft, and the Chargers may very well not have any reason to play in this game. I'll take them on the money line. I got no problem with that.
Joe, I think it's a great bet, especially because I think Pittsburgh somehow, some way actually wins tomorrow night, albeit in a high-scoring game against the Bengals. Don't forget the Steelers, who might not win the AFC North if Baltimore, as the odds and all of us expect, quickly dispatch of the Cleveland Browns. But the Steelers still desperately want that 5 seed, top wild card spot, to not have to play the Ravens in the opening round, but rather head to Houston to take on the Texans. If that is the case, if Pittsburgh wins, the Chargers are locked in to the 6 seed. Do they need to really put everybody out there against the Raiders? And Joe, if that is the case, the Bolts aren't going to be a 4.5-point favorite. That line is going to work one of two ways following Saturday's slate. If the Steelers lose, could the Chargers be more than a touchdown favorite? And might it make sense to bet them now? Yeah. If the Steelers win, there's a chance the Raiders end up as a slight pick'em favorite. Love the look right there. And because the Raiders have won 2 straight as a slight favorite in both, including last week against the Saints, the Raiders can't get the number 1 overall pick, which is what we thought for most of this year in Sin City. I am fascinated, by the way, to see what Mark Davis is going to do with his head coach in Antonio Pierce entering next season. Joe, I'm going to trust the head coach in Houston at his word. D'Amico Ryans has said that I'm going to play everybody. I expect everybody to be ready to play on Sunday in Nashville against the Titans. The Texans don't have anything to play for necessarily in terms of stakes and seed line. They are locked in to the 4 spot in the AFC. And yeah, Houston won a division in the AFC South. And yep, they've done so for a second consecutive year with Ryans and CJ Stroud. But this Houston team winning the AFC South wasn't the hope this year in H-Town. It was be a true conference contender. And the Texans entering the postseason don't look anywhere close to that. CJ Stroud has not been as good in his sophomore season as his rookie campaign. And I think D'Amico Ryans has said, everybody better get ready because we need to be playing our best brand of football entering that opening round game at home, of which they are not right now. So I think we might actually see the starters early on Sunday in Tennessee. And Joe, even if we see the reserves, the Titans shouldn't be laying a point to anybody. I'll take the Texans outright on the money line as the underdog on Sunday. Plenty more from the Pick Six over the final 20 minutes or so of this Football Friday on the early line on SportsGrid on the other side of the break. Plenty more bets to get to you for week number 18. Call next. Live right here on a Football Friday, we continue our Pick Six for week number 18 around the National Football League. We've given you our favorite anytime touchdown scorer, our favorite moneyline underdog to pull off that outright upset in the regular season finale weekend. Don't worry if you missed them. They'll be on the screen as we continue to give out some best bets for this final regular season weekend in the NFL. Now it's time for the best under of the weekend. Joe Ranieri, which game are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm not going to overthink it here, Ben. I'm going to go to New England and watch them score next to no points in this one here. And listen, I get it. Buffalo is going to start Josh Allen so he can continue with the Iron Man record. That's good.
Yeah.
But listen, Mitch Trubisky, he's a quality backup. He's capable of certainly running the offense here. But the Pats, they've already said basically they're not going with their rookie in this one. Jacoby Brissett is, let's face it, an injury waiting to happen here. I think Buffalo wins this. I don't think they take any chances. And we just cannot trust offensively anything that the Patriots will bring to the table. I think Buffalo's defense is going to limit them. I don't think they want to sweat anything out like they did a couple of weeks ago in Orchard Park. When it comes to get all down to it, it feels like a 20-3 kind of game to me, Ben.
And I will just say this, right? We've talked about a lot of teams and places and spots this week where an NFL organization is going to rest its most significant players or its starters. If they have known that within the franchise now for a week or maybe longer than that, they're also still preparing to win a football game with the guys that are there. Mitchell Trubisky is not the starter, but he's been prepping like a starter, although Josh Allen is probably going to start and take a knee or hand the football off to preserve his 115 consecutive start streak, the longest active among NFL quarterbacks. I say that, Joe, because the depth for the Bills was the question this year. With so many familiar faces on either side of the football leaving Western New York this offseason, how would Buffalo respond? Well, they've won 13 games, maybe 14, and they're going to have the second best price to win the AFC entering this postseason. I agree. I think the Bills win this game. If the Patriots do lose, New England will have the number 1 overall pick entering the 2025 NFL Draft. No idea what the Pats are going to do at their head coaching spot. I think it would be premature to fire Gerard Mayo, but that's just my 2 cents. My favorite under in Lambeau, Bears, Packers under 41.5. Green Bay needs this game to hopefully get the 6th seed, but they don't control their destiny in doing so. If Washington beats Dallas on the road, then bada bing, bada boom, the Commanders are the 6th seed in the NFC playoff picture. But Green Bay won't know that until later on in the game, perhaps, to see how Washington is faring at the Star against Dallas. Green Bay is going to be in command of this game. The Bears scored 3 points last week at home against the Seahawks in a game Seattle needed and Chicago really didn't. The Bears have given their last efforts of the year. They've got a tumultuous offseason to figure out what to do with Caleb Williams. Of course, he will return in the Windy City. He has been promising at times, and their head coach. And I think Green Bay limits anything Chicago is going to do. A one-sided affair. I can see the Packers winning 28-3 and then checking out in the second half because they do not need it. Green Bay in its last 5 games as a favorite, under in 4. Chicago in this 10-game losing skid, under in 7 of 10. Give me the under 41.5 between the Bears and the Packers, Joe.
I love it, Ben. I also happen to think that, and it's funny because my alt line happens to also be coming from your game there, Ben. And I'm going with and you're not going to see this very often, but how about a kicker prop? How about Brandon McManus to get 2 or more field goals in this game here? And listen, I'm kind of like you here. I don't think we're going to get a ton of points, but I also don't see there being a lot of 4th and 3, let's go for it. 4th and 5, let's go for it. I think McManus is going to have plenty of opportunities here to be able to get some field goals in this one. In fact, opposing kickers have made 2 or more field goals in 8 of the Bears' last 10 games. So I like McManus's chances here. He's only made 17 field goals in 10 games with them, but I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities here to test that leg and get into a rhythm. I think Green Bay wins it, but I think there's a few field goals along the way.
You put Brandon McManus in a must-win spot for a team, and I'm still thinking,
Yes.
the Denver Broncos do need to handle business against the Chiefs. But McManus, no longer in Mile High, of course, has been a very solid kicker for Green Bay, who the Pack have been dealing with some kicking woes the last few seasons. My alt line, the Miami Dolphins, laying 6.5 against the New York Jets. Because of some uncertainty around the starting quarterback for Miami, the alt market is not out yet, but they're a 1.5 favorite against the New York Jets. Miami is going to win this game, and they're going to win this game to present you an opportunity with some plus money. I don't care if it's Tyler Huntley. In fact, if it is, fine. Guy was electric last week in Cleveland. And how many points did the Dolphins win by as a 2.5-point favorite against the Browns that have nothing left? 17. I think the Dolphins can win this game by a touchdown. Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Devontae Adams, it's Garrett Wilson. That team has never had anything in the 2 years Aaron Rodgers has been there. Certainly not this season. They have lacked any little bit of juice they might have left. It's over. It's done. It's kaput. Maybe on Aaron Rodgers' career by the end of Sunday. And the Dolphins will need that game. Miami wins by at least a touchdown. I think the number would be plus 172, something like that, if I am doing my odds making correctly. For the Fins, Joe, laying 6.5. They're only a 1.5 favorite in East Rutherford on Sunday.
Yeah, I love it, Ben. I think people are still too fixated on the fact of how inept they were earlier this season without Tua at offense. And I think Huntley showed it last week against a pretty good Cleveland defense in the conditions. He's more than capable of doing enough to beat bad teams.
Time for incentives now, as we will talk yardage props on the other side of the break, whether in a contract or a career legacy. And then we combine forces for a two-leg 6-point teaser and a pick six next. We round out the Week 18 pick six, which of course will round out the regular season in 2024 in the National Football League on the opening weekend of 2025. Our favorite yardage prop of this weekend, Joe. You begin. Where do you start? Might there be some incentive for this player going over a number on Sunday?
Oh, I think we already know the answer to that one, Ben. And yes, there is. And I'm going to Seattle, which has actually Geno Smith, the quarterback, with plenty of incentives there as far as yardage goes for him on the season and completion percentage. And also one of both his main targets. But JSM there has plenty of incentive here. His number, Ben, pretty light, I believe, for his receiving yards. I had it at 67.5, and yeah, I don't get it. He has already surpassed his number in 8 of his last 10 games. The Rams have allowed the most receptions and receiving yards to slot receivers this season. I don't see how he doesn't feast. Also, he's got 180 receiving yards in the first game against them. I think it has no problem getting up and over, helping Geno Smith get over his yardage for the season to help him cash an extra $2 million, and also adding to his possibility of also gaining all sorts of incentives for yardage this season. So I like him and DK Metcalf, for that matter, to have big games.
The Rams are resting. LA already winning the NFC West. They can be the 3 or the 4, but I guess it's not overly important for Sean McVay to be the 3 seed where things stand right now. So Jimmy Garoppolo makes his first start for LA. Because of it, though, Seattle a 6.5-point favorite in SoFi. I'm going to Mike Evans over his receiving yards prop. Now, we use the lovely FanDuel Sportsbook, as I'm sure you can see with the logos and the sponsorships throughout our 3 hours on TEL. Maybe this number is available in other spots. I don't care. I'm an FD guy through and through. When the number is posted, it's probably going to be 84.5. Why do I say it? Mike Evans needs 85 yards to get to 1,000 for the 11th consecutive year in his National Football League career. That would be all 11 seasons in his NFL career. That was him with a hamstring injury, walking off the field. It seemed unlikely that Evans would have the opportunity to get to 1K. but he has been prolific the last 3 weeks or so for Tampa and has the opportunity to do so this week in a game the Bucs must have as a 2-touchdown favorite at home against the Saints. If Tampa wins, they claim the NFC South. And to do that, they'll be feeding Mike Evans early, often, and I believe frequently on Sunday. So over the yardage prop, whatever it turns out to be. Now time, Joe, to combine forces for our final 6.2 leg teaser of this National Football League regular season. Your leg first.
Yeah, a couple of different ways to look at this here, Ben, but I ended up going with a game that you talked about earlier, and it makes sense, right? Your Moneyline Underdog was Houston. They should not be probably a underdog in this spot. So I got no problem at 1.5, teasing them up over to a touchdown. I'm confident in them as well to be able to handle business against Tennessee. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Texans over a touchdown here as my leg of the teaser.
Completely agree, Joe. I picked the Texans to win outright as my moneyline underdog. D'Amico Ryan says that everybody better be ready to play against the Titans, even if it's the third stringers. I don't think the Titans should be favored in any NFL football game the remainder of this season. I'll take the Commanders down from a 6.5-point spread to a pick'em price against the Cowboys. Washington wants to head back to Dallas to win one for the skipper in Dan Quinn against his former team, a divisional rival. And if the Commanders win, they earn the 6th seed in the NFC. Is it really that important, 6 or 7? Yeah, because the 7th seed has to head to Philadelphia. The 6th seed will either go to L.A. to take on the Rams or the Buccaneers in Tampa. And that 6th seed, if it is Washington or maybe even Green Bay, might be favored, albeit on the road, to win a playoff game in the opening round. Listen, we don't have enough time to run through it all. Just put up Joe's pick 6 once again so everybody can see. Mental snapshot. Take it in. Visual image. It's beautiful. Now to mine. Week 18, pick 6. Love it. Winners, sweep the board. Joe Ranieri will see you this weekend on SportsGrid. We appreciate the time as always. To all of you, enjoy week 18. Have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday.